Well, hello there, my brave warriors. Welcome to my channel, welcome to this video. My name is Sparkfinger, and today I'd like to take you on a magical adventure into a game with almost limitless possibilities, known as AI Dungeon. First of all, I'd like to ask you personally, what is the most fun thing in video games overall, period? Well, for me it was always a sense of exploration. Ever since I was a little kid, I loved going behind the corner and finding out what was there, playing GTA, playing Morrowind, Skyrim, Oblivion. Well, today I actually have prepared a little script in advance. I'd like to show you something I already made. A little adventure in AI Dungeon. The viewers of my channel already are familiar with the world that I like to play in an AI Dungeon. It's the magical world of Xexas, set in a sort of light fantasy adventure. And due to the nature of AI Dungeon itself, it doesn't exactly take place in, a medieval setting. It sort of mixes in with modern day setting. So, I would like to show you one of the most fun things you can do in AI Dungeon. So, today's story takes place in AI Dungeon, an immersive AI-powered role-playing game. I've been playing it a lot in the last few months, just almost never taking a break. Playing it a little bit every day and sometimes letting myself play just for hours when I feel inspiration, because the thing about AI-powered games is that they sort of really connect to you. When you have something unique in your mind, when you have a unique setting for a story, then you can have a lot of fun. For example, I've been thinking about playing out a scenario in a restaurant where the chef tries to legally sell a chef's special with a secret ingredient. So I would like to imagine how the AI would handle the whole legality thing, because honestly, the AI is always so unpredictable. It does take the reality and sort of warps it in a way to make sense to itself. In AI Dungeon, like in many games, I have my own very special little save game with a character that is very much like a personification of myself. But of course, due to many limitations, he still has to be a separate character. He can't be everything that I am. Because, honestly, there's a lot of things I wouldn't do that my character is forced to do during times of war, let's say, and due to AI's unexpected nature. So, AI Dungeon actually has sort of a small kind of partnership with artbreeder.io, the site that uses AI-powered engine to generate different portraits. And I've always used, in one of my videos before, I showcased how I use this particular tool to create faces for many of my characters, actually, just so I can have even more immersion, the dreaded, beloved immersion that people love so much in Skyrim. So yes, now I'm going to show you some of my characters. Here are some of the faces for the characters I generated with Artbreeder. As you can see, there's my main character. I actually used a screenshot from a different game. Can you guess which? I'll give you a couple seconds. I used a screenshot from The Elder Scrolls Online to generate a face for my character, because honestly, well, my character has sort of been transported as an alternate version of himself into this alternate AI-powered reality. And here are the pictures of some other characters that I met along the way. One of the first characters that I met, Talia, the half-elven maiden, who my character has, the waifu, I would say, who my character has already spent almost 2 decades with, more than 2 decades, and the daughter of the main character. And here, by the way, is a picture of a character that wasn't generated by Artbreeder, but by the new fun site that actually can generate pictures based on the description. It was generated in artflow.ai. And here's another character that some of the viewers of my channel might already recognize. He is Gloom. He is actually a character from another universe, from the choose-your-own-adventure style games. He keeps popping up in AI-powered games, like Count Grey that you might be familiar with if you love playing AI Dungeon. And here's another way I'd like to imagine Gloom looks, because honestly, I've based the adventures of my character and Gloom, because they just happen to have become buds, in a great dynamic on 2 characters from my favorite movie. Yes, I guess it is my favorite movie, Asterix and Obelix versus Caesar, or Kaiser. That's right. There's always a lot of fun, and best thing about Gloom is that the training material for AI Dungeon, all these choose-your-own-adventure type of games, basically other text games, really make him a unique, spicy character, who a little bit is also quite unpredictable sometimes. The whole concept of visiting an unusual place started with me playing Fallout 76 first, where there is a very special place. There is this You know, special West Tech facility where a lot of dangerous enemies are settled deep down in it, but, you know, the upper part of the facility has sort of a little bit camp, all signs of people that used to live there. So I took this concept and put it straight in a AI dungeon. Here's how it started. Okay, I was just having a dialogue with my AI friend, reminiscing about the good old adventures. So that's how I decided to ask him how I introduced this story. By the way, have you heard of the ancient factory of Krik? There are rumors that it still stands, and is inhabited by an army of flesh golems, you know, like in the Elder Scrolls as well, led by a cruel and cunning soul harvester. That is actually also from the Elder Scrolls, that's what the AI itself generated. I just decided to put in the ancient factory, then AI generated the name, and then it sort of generated the background for the story. I think I was the one who chose for it to be inhabited by flesh golems. And Gloom answers, "Ah, that's interesting. And more importantly, there are still people who live on top of the roof of the factory. All the flesh golems can't reach them, and they are led by a cunning general who managed to fend off the golems for years. That is interesting indeed. I'd love to meet a general who managed to survive on a roof." And then, it just so happens I spent a lot of time still in the city of Urek, where my character resides, preparing for the actual adventure. So let's skip to it and let's read through the most interesting parts. Your supplies are ready. Gloom joins you in your house. "Well, the road is going to take 3 days. Are you prepared?" he asks. "Of course," you reply. "Bring enough water. It's pretty warm, so we'll be able to survive without food or water for quite a while." "Got it." Later that day, you two depart on your venture. First, you take a train that takes you mere 200 kilometers away from Urek. From there, you start to walk. You walk all day long and get a good distance from the city. As night falls, you two decide to camp out. "So, what do you think this place is?" Gloom asks as he puts up the tent. "I don't know, but it's old, really old," you reply, leaning against the tree. "Yeah, really freaking old," Gloom says as he finishes setting up the tent. "Come on, let's go inside." You go inside the tent and Gloom shines his flashlight around the inside of it. You two grab your sleeping bags and throw them down in the tent. "Well, good night," Gloom says, turning off the flashlight and getting into his sleeping bag. "Good night." You wake up at dawn and get out of the tent. "How far are we?" you ask. "About 700 kilometers from Urek," Gloom replies. "We should get there by nightfall, if we walk at a reasonable pace." "Great, so I guess we really walked for 500 kilometers already, huh? I don't even remember which parts were generated and which parts I wrote." Yeah, Gloom implies that you'll get to Krik by nightfall. You eat some rations and begin to walk again. "What do you think this place was?" Gloom asks. "It's really old." "I don't know, let's find out when we get there." As you walk, you encounter a few hills. Nothing major, just some rolling hills on the path. It's a pretty nice view. "So, how's Talia?" Gloom suddenly asks. "Is she doing well?" "Yeah, she's fine. She's like, I don't know, not going through middle age, I guess. She's pregnant, actually. There's a lot of random stuff here." "Oh, congratulations, man," Gloom says. "Thanks," you reply. You walk through the rolling hills for a while longer. You look around and take in the scenery. You're currently in a valley with hills on either side of you. The area around you seems to be pretty grassy and flowery. A few small trees dot the landscape here and there. You and Gloom continue on the road, walking along as the sun rises into the sky. It's a pretty nice day today, not too hot, with a gentle breeze. "Wanna hear a joke?" Gloom asks. "Sure," you reply. "Why did the chicken cross the road?" "I don't know. Why?" "To get to the other side," Gloom says, bursting into laughter. You think for a while. "That's the stupidest freaking joke I've ever heard," you say. Gloom bursts into laughter again. "Man, you're right, that was stupid. Let me tell you a good one. What did a piece of bacon say to the stove?" "I don't know. What?" "Are you insinuating that I'm fat?" Gloom bursts into laughter again. You see a hill with large stones at the top and walk towards it. "Wanna sit down?" you ask. "Sure," Gloom replies. You walk up the hill and take a seat on one of the large rocks. Sometimes I wonder if all this walking is really worth it. "Well, we'll be there soon." "I know," Gloom says, "but what then? I mean, are we really going to find anything of value?" "Anything's possible." "Yeah," Gloom says, sighing. "I'm more interested in hearing the people's story," you say. "I wonder how they managed to survive out there. Do you think they have a king, a ruler of some sorts?" "I doubt it. They probably have no central leadership. Otherwise, the king and his soldiers would have wiped out the savages by now." "Surely someone must lead them. A shaman, perhaps. They're the most likely to be led by one." "Well, we'll soon find out. Krik Canyon isn't that much further." You pause and turn to Gloom. "You don't think they'll attack on sight, do you?" "I don't know," Gloom says. "We'll hope for the best." You sign and stand up off the rack. Yeah, there is one of my actions. You look in the direction of the factory. In the far distance you see a large sprawling factory. It's difficult to see from here, but it looks like it's made of a blackish brick. The factory is surrounded by a fence, topped with a barbed wire. Hey, I can see it already, you say. You and Gloom walk towards it. So, what do you think they'll be like? Gloom asks. I don't know, you say. Hopefully friendly. Yeah. What about flesh golems, you ask? I hope not, Gloom says. I've fought enough of them in my lifetime. Gloom looks off at the factory. I hope we find something worthwhile there. We're gonna visit the roof of it first. That's where the people we need to talk to are. The ground level is full of flesh golems. Great, Gloom says. I was afraid you'd say that. Gloom signs and you continue walking. Soon you're standing in front of the factory. It's large and it has a name written on it. Acadia Manufacturing. I guess Acadia must be related to the Uruk name. Originally, the name of the capital city in this fantasy land was Uruk, with a U. Then it randomly changed into Uruk, and I guess it's related to the ancient civilization of Acadia, Uruk. What's Acadia? Do you know, Gloom? You ask Gloom. Nope, Gloom replies, hooking his thumb behind his belt. You stand there for a moment staring at the building. You can hear voices emanating out of it. You search for a way to the roof. You walk around the side of the building looking for a way in. You find a staircase leading up to the roof. Think this leads to the roof, you ask Gloom? Looks like it. Let's check it out. You take the lead, you say. You and Gloom walk up the stairs onto the roof of the factory. There you see a semblance of a settlement built on top of the factory. Various houses are built from different materials. Some even having grass roofs. Most of the people milling about are humans, wearing simple clothing. A few dwarves walk around in their long beards and red vests. Quite a few elves in simple clothing walk around, with ears sticking up through their hair. Well, let's find out about their struggle, you say. You reckon they got a tavern here? You address Gloom. Yep, can't have a proper village without a tavern, Gloom says. You walk into the village, looking around. Sure enough, you find a tavern. You walk over to it and duck inside. The tavern is empty. A dwarf sits behind the bar, cleaning a glass with a dirty rag. Hey, you say. He looks up at you. Yeah? We're travelers, you say. Tell us, what's it like to live here on the roof of the factory? Are flesh golems a problem? Not nowadays, the dwarf says. It used to be, but the company fixed that. Now it's a worker's paradise, just like everyone wants it to be. But how come the golems can't find a way to the roof? You'd think they'd attack so they could stomp you all into the gooey paste. They can't find a way up, if that's what you're wondering. The four men are pretty smart when it comes to that. The way I heard it, they're using some sort of technology that fuses metal on a molecular level. AI Dungeon is great at coming up with these explanations. Even the strongest goblins can't find a way up using conventional ladders and ropes. Pretty smart if you ask me. Oh, so flesh golems are a problem for you? Gloom asks. Nope, I've never even seen one in person, to be honest. Just the pictures in books, like everyone else. Pretty scary if you ask me. Well, that's nice. I was expecting to come here and see settlement in distress, but I'm glad to see that people here don't just survive, but also thrive. Yeah, those... I'm pretty sure I had a very specific writing style for this one. Yeah, I had a very eloquent, detailed writing style. Yeah, this is a good life. We should be safe forever with the company looking after us, although it is getting crowded. Some people are upset about that. I see. So what do you know about the factory down under? Why are there flesh golems? Who's leading them? I don't know much. I've never been down there or even seen a flesh golem. Apparently the situation has been under control as long as anyone can remember. Well, that's nice, I guess. My character was expecting to see a place in dire need of being saved, but I guess people here are just living a peaceful life with flesh golems not intruding on top of the factory. Ancient factory of Krik, a legendary place. You turn to Gloom. Do you have any ideas? Gloom shrugs his shoulders. None at all, Gloom says. I guess this place doesn't need saving, you say. Still, we can venture downstairs and find out what's really going on. Sounds like a plan. I'm ready to uncover the truth, Gloom says. Before we do, let's explore the town and its pleasures. You said you were ready to die anyway, you say. Gloom sighs. Fine, Gloom says in a resigned voice, but after that we go downstairs. Agreed? Yeah, agreed, I think. Good, Gloom says. Gloom and you walk through the village and arrive at a large building. Looking at it, it seems to be some sort of community center. A town hall, if you will. You enter and find a large meeting hall inside with a dozen of long tables placed in a perpendicular fashion, creating a large letter Q. An ancient Germanic letter. That is a really unique table placement, you say. What? Gloom says, turning back to you. Those tables you see, they are positioned in a way to resemble the ancient letter Q. It's the symbol for a letter that a lot of people in this area used to write with. Some people believe it stood for king, others for god. Chances are the room represents the status of the community within this company. I think it means something like meeting hall of the king or god of this factory. Huh, Gloom says, clearly not impressed. Let's go back inside, there's nothing in here. Because you see here I tried using a unique Unicode letter. And I wanted to see if this particular AI engine could read this letter and, let's say, interpret the way it looks. I still don't have a conclusive outcome for this. I think it can't actually do it, but it can do something like this. Huh, Gloom says, okay. You head outside and Gloom begins looking around at the various surrounding buildings. So, where are the bad places? I don't know if there are any. What? Then what the hell is there to do around here? I don't know, drinking, gambling, seems like this place caters to more of a family-friendly crowd. Perhaps there are some cockfights, you know, cock as in the animal, the rooster. You say and point to a nearby building. Let's just go there, there's nothing to do here. The two of you head over to the cockfighting arena. You buy a couple of tickets and enter. The place is nearly empty, save for a few poor-looking folks in the cheap seats. At the end of the arena is a fight about to begin. Do you really think we'll find anything here? Gloom asks. No, not really. You walk out into an open area. The floor beneath your feet is covered in blood. You hear the sounds of two voices arguing. I'm telling you, the chicken was clearly granted more powers by the gods, a voice cries. Are you freaking stupid? That's not how it works. You're just too stupid to know how the chicken wasn't granted powers. It was just really small, another voice replies. Freak you, you're just a scaredy cat. I'm not scared. I'm smart, just because you have no idea how this game works. You step forward and are suddenly able to see two speakers. A heavily tanned man with blonde hair and a man with dark skin wearing a black leather jacket. You see Gloom and step forward. You find yourself in a large warehouse with dozens of cages around against the walls. Inside the cages are dozens of men and women. Standing around them are a dozen men wearing black cloaks holding tridents. Yeah, that's why you have to love AI Dungeon. You think you're coming to see a bird fight, which is not even that violent since it's featured in Far Cry nowadays. But here you end up with a really bizarre dark fantasy kind of stuff. What the freak is this? Gloom says, stepping forward. The tanned man with blonde hair turns to look at you. Ah, a challenger, he says, smiling. I was hoping one of you would have the cojones to come down here. Who are you? My name is Archie. I'm the game master here, and I'm also the... Okay, here's where I was having fun. I'm sorry. I was having fun with an inappropriate joke. So let's just not read this and skip this. You chuckle with him. Gloom does not. You glance at the other man who is shorter with dark black skin. His hair is shaved into a mohawk, and he wears leather pants and a jacket covered in metal plates. What kind of games do you play here? Well, on Mondays we play Monopoly, on Tuesdays we play tennis, on Wednesday we play water polo, Thursdays we play Twister, and Fridays, well, we just, let's say, fool around, if you know what I mean. He says and winks at you. So what are you doing right now? Just for context, today is Saturday, so it's the day that starts with an S. That's what I wrote in. Well, on Saturdays we make sushi, Sundays are for sleeping in, and then on Mondays we play Monopoly again. Hold on, I'm confused. So, today's a Saturday or a Monday, you ask? It's a Saturday. You two must have had a long journey to have gotten here, so I won't blame you for being a little confused. Come on, step inside, let me show you around. First, I have to ask, are there any openings for me and my friend here, you ask? Archie stares at you smirking. Well, we have a lot of openings, but I have to ask, are you two a couple? All of this was mostly generated by AI Dungeon. We are a couple of good friends, I answer. You say with a smile. Gloom looks at you and rolls his eyes. Here's a problem with AI Dungeon. AI Dungeon loves rolling characters who roll their eyes, and that people only really do it in America. In the Eastern world, we don't really roll our eyes as a sign of cringing. I have a girlfriend, he says. Gloom says. Archie thinks for a moment, staring at you both. Well, we're gonna do some sushi rolling today, so feel free to join us. I'm not sure what else we'll be doing later, but you two can decide that. We'll join you, you reply. Ah, excellent. We'll start right away. Follow me. And, well, we're only roughly 1/3 of the story, and I hope you're enjoying this little story. With your grandpa Sparkfinger, I do have to tell a lot of stories IRL, and right now, I just wanted to make a little video. Hope you're enjoying it so far. Leave a like if you're watching this part of the video and you haven't switched away. Okay. You and Gloom follow Archie into the hall of the building, into the back of the building, where a group of cheerful men and women are sitting at a long table. You see several large fish, some seaweed, dozens of different fruits and vegetables, and a wooden board with several knives on it. Gloom leans in. What the freak are we doing, he asks. We're making sushi, unless there's something else you'd prefer to be doing. Freak, no, I love sushi, Gloom says, brightening up. One of the traits of Gloom, he loves swearing. That's because The CYOA format, choose your own adventure format, the training for him was sort of making him a sweary kind of guy. It's not really a big deal. But you know, we are not going to swear, we're not going to read it out loud. You sit down at the table with Gloom and start making sushi. You overhear a couple of young people from across the table talking about something inappropriate. Oh, you elbow Gloom and nod your head towards them. See those two? Don't stare too long or you'll get inputted, Gloom whispers. A little joke, I guess. You snicker as you both continue to make sushi. You work together to make a few rolls and then take a break. Soon the sushi chef begins bringing out plates of fully cooked sushi for everyone to enjoy. You eat lightly, trying the cooked rare tuna. It's delicious. I mean, I'm not against. I actually used to make sushi with cooked tuna and it was quite nice. No one really wants to risk eating actual raw fish these days. Unless it's like really clean kind of fish, not from the creek, but like, let's say from a perfectly sanitized aquarium. But sorry, I digress again. Gloom and you enjoy the meal and the company for a while, and then Archie announces that it's time to shift the next activity, sword fighting. Well, it's Saturday, it starts with an S, so it's sword fighting. Archie goes to his office and comes back with two dull but still very sharp swords. I love this. This was generated by AI. He gives you both a sword and tells you to follow him. You follow Archie outside, where he shows you a wooden plank with the words sword fighting arena written on it, just like in your Vaskar in Skyrim. He ties a ribbon to mark the boundary, then puts on some safety goggles. Alright, he says, first to hit the other's body wins, alright? And no going for the kill. Archie takes his sword and shield out and you, and Gloom follows suit. Then you begin. The three of you fight for a while, you try to aim for the head and the body, but Gloom and Archie try to block and defend. Eventually, after a few good hits, Archie is knocked over. He winces as he touches his ankle. Oh, Rick, I think I twisted my freaking ankle, he says. Looks like I win, I say. Archie nods. Looks like. Good fight, you two. Gloom looks confused as Archie hobbles off. Neither of you had gone for the body. You shrug and begin to walk back inside. This warehouse is a lovely place, but I think we should explore the rest of Krik before we venture downstairs into the factory, you say to Gloom. Do you think there is a way to go up to the upper floors and look around? Upper floors of the factory. You mean inside the factory itself? I don't know. The doors are all locked and I didn't see any open, Gloom answers. You still feel curious about the roof town, so you suggest exploring it more. I mean, I was still curious. And one thing I just love exploring in these games. Well, we're still here, we should look around a bit more, you say to Gloom. I wonder if there is a way to get up top. We could find out more about this place. I don't think there's much to find, Gloom says, but I suppose we could go look around the lower floors before we leave. No, we should get on top, you say, and point to the narrow staircase behind the two of you. Haven't been up there yet, so maybe on a tower on top of the factory roof. Gloom shrugs and two of you walk over to the staircase. Gloom goes first and you bring up the rear. The staircase is very dark, so you both light a torch before going up. The stairs wind up in a long dark shaft that goes up at least 4 stories. I wonder if this tower is part of the original factory, you say. Well, the walls are made of brick and the factory is metal, so probably not, Gloom answers. You shrug and continue walking up the stairs. Eventually the staircase opens to a hallway. You walk down it, your feet falling on wooden planks rather than the stone floor of the staircase. You look around and observe the magnificent architecture. The place would be worth a fortune back in the city. The doors are all wooden and there is a tree engraved on every one. This place is beautiful. The landscape around the tower is beautiful. A river flows beneath the bridge that leads to it and there are trees everywhere around. You turn your head back to the tower and notice a person on the ramparts. They are wearing a hooded red robe, but you can still see their gender, a man. He's looking out at the landscape and doesn't notice you. You feel jealous. This tower has everything you ever wanted. Because it's too beautiful, I guess. Wow, did you just assume their gender? Gloom says to you, confused. What? No, look over there, you say and point to the man. Gloom looks at you a while before shrugging. I was joking, I saw the hooded robe, I thought he was a woman. A little bit confused. Gloom nods. It happens, kid, Gloom says. Well, let's go speak to him. Gloom walks up to the man and you follow. Hello there, sir. We're travelers from the city and here to see the sights. What do you know about the factory down below? I know more than you might think, the man says, but where are my manners? I am Professor Samuel Mazalth of the Krek's Academy. I am Gloom and this is Torkard. A pleasure, Mazalth says. Now I'll answer your questions if you answer a few of mine. Great, you say. What do you know about the factory? A lot, Mazalth says, but I want to know about you first. Are you adventurous? What are your origins? I'm an adventurer, but Gloom's just visiting. I'm from Orlania and Gloom is from, well, somewhere else. The professor says, stroking his chin. Where is Orlania? It's the capital of the kingdom of Urak, you say. Which is located? Mazalth asks. You're kidding me, you say to him. You know perfectly well where the capital is located. I'm afraid not, Mazalth says. I've been here for a long time and Orlania is far from here. Tell me about it. No, the factory is located in Orlania, in this kingdom, you say to him. Urak is to the northeast of here. Mazal says, stroking his chin. I think you're being a little presumptuous. What? All of these locations you speak of, Mazal says, I don't think they exist. You show him the map on your phone. Look, here's Krik. That's where we are now. Here's that river over here, and if you scroll up and to the right, here's your rack. And also the railroad. You say and point to the map. Interesting, Mazal says as he squints at the tiny screen. But this could all be an illusion. There is no way to know if this tiny map is accurate. That's reasonable, but now tell us about the factory. Why are there flesh golems here, and what is the factory's purpose? It's not unreasonable to assume that there are golems here or even people, but they aren't flesh golems. What are you talking about? We saw them. You saw what you were expecting to see. You saw flesh golems because you expected to see flesh golems. You saw machinery because you expected to see machinery. Your mind filled in the rest. Do you expect to go into that factory and fight flesh golems? Because I assure you, there are no flesh golems here. No, that's some Terry Pratchett BS, you say and laugh. Next you'll tell me that elves have been living in this forest for generations. Actually, that's not a lie, Mazal says. There is a secret elven community a few miles away from here. Okay, bye for now, you say to the man, because I was actually getting really annoyed while I was playing it. Let's go, Gloom. It's finally time to go downstairs and enter the factory. Maybe there will be some flesh golems down there. How are you with enchanted swords? I can cast my most powerful enchantment and still only wound the soft body of a golem. I will probably not even scratch their surface. A little bit contradicting there. No problem then. We'll just run away after I enrage them. Actually, wait. Can you conjure up a few monsters? I'd like to see how powerful the golems are. Of course I can, Gloom says. Some imps should do it. Do you have any, you ask? I've had some experience with imps. They're wicked little creatures and love to cause trouble. They're also fond of eating babies and young children. Oh yes. So we're dealing with evil flesh golems that want to eat our flesh and chop us up into little pieces as well as little demons that eat babies. Great. I'm glad we came here. Let's go. So yeah, here Dungeon is being a little bit confused. He doesn't actually remember what is in the factory itself. So it confused our little dialogue for what was happening. You begin walking down the staircase. Gloom's magic lantern illuminates the way, giving the staircase an eerie blue glow. The staircase spirals around until you reach the bottom. A large wooden door blocks your path. Let's do this, you say. You open the door and you are faced with row after row of shelves. The shelves are filled with glass bottles of every color, each one containing a different fluid. You wonder what else could be in the room beyond, but it's too dark to see. We should probably turn some lights on, you say. You flick the switch on the wall. Suddenly the entire room is illuminated. You squint your eyes as they are assaulted with a myriad of flashing lights that dance before you, reflecting off the bottles. Wow, Gloom says. The room is about half the size of a football field. Wow, interesting, you say. You listen to the sound of your own voice echoing around the chamber. The room is filled with countless shelves with rows of colorful bottles. On some of the shelves, several bottles have leaked, and so there is a carpet of different colored puddles on the floor. The bottles are all different shapes and sizes, one made of glass, plastic or metal. It's a rainbow of liquid, powder and gas. Some of the bottles have a few drops left, while others are nearly full. Some of the bottles have bits of plants floating in them. Other bottles have strange objects floating in them, such as small toys, pieces of metal, or even insects. What a pretty room. Yes, that's because I was using the overly descriptive writing style. You love it. A strange sound interrupts the silence and calm. It sounds like a small, quiet squeaking. Hello, Gloom asks. You hear the squeaking again. It's coming from the back of the room. You walk towards it as the squeaking gets louder. You walk past the bright lights and colorful bottles. As you get to the back of the room, you see a cage, and in that cage is a small animal. It's a brown mouse with pink eyes, a pink mouth, and a bushy, bright yellow tail. It's the source of the squeaking you heard. Oh, look at the cute little mouse, you say in a baby voice, despite yourself. The mouse squeaks again. What are you doing here? You ask. In there. You look at the door to the cage. It's locked with a rusty padlock, which is stuck shut with rust. You reach out towards the case, and the mouse squeaks again. It makes a little jump towards you, but then stops short of the barrier. Gloom says, looking at the cage curiously. I don't think it's supposed to be in there. What do you think we should do, you ask? Suddenly the mouse squeaks in horror. It backs up against the far corner of the cage as it watches the shadows. You turn around and see a tall, dark figure standing behind you. What is that? Gloom asks in a terrified voice. A mongoose, you say in a panicked voice as a dark figure raises its hands, pointing a gun at you. You watch as a compact black hole forms in the center of the figure's hands. You watch as the small cylinder flies through the air straight at your head. Look out, it's gonna, Gloom says before being interrupted by the sound of the metal vial bursting against the side of your head. Ow. Shoots. The bullet scrapes past you, digging out a groove in the wall before finally stopping. What the freak? Gloom says, looking at the hole in the wall. Gloom, stay back, he's got a gun, you say. A gun? What do you mean? Is that a gun? Gloom asks, stepping forward. Gloom, stop, it's dangerous. Gloom picks up the gun, pulling it out of the shadows. It's so tiny, he looks like a toy. You can hear a squeal as the figure lets out a high-pitched yell. The figure runs away as Gloom chases after him, stumbling forward. Gloom, carefully, it's loaded, you yell. Funny, because Gloom already picked up the gun. He just basically tore the gun out of the figure's hand, because he is, well, supposed to be a powerful character. You follow behind Gloom, nearly tripping over the tiny gun as you do so. You chase after Gloom as he gets closer to the shadowy figure. You hear the sound of a door open as Gloom stops running. Gloom, don't stop, he's getting away, you say. It's just the elevator, Gloom says in an annoyed voice, as he waves his hand at the elevator to open it. Why the freak did he only go down? How should I know? Maybe there's something down there. Press the button to go down. Gloom steps into the elevator, pressing the button to the bottom floor. You quickly step into the lift as well. The elevator begins its slow descent. You can't help but notice that the elevator seems extremely dark and gloomy. Even for an abandoned factory, you feel a chill up your spine as you notice the dozen of bullet holes that cover the walls. Well, this factory sure has seen its share of trouble, you say, trying to make conversation. Yeah, I guess, Gloom says in an uninteresting tone. The elevator stops and the door opens. A voice comes over the intercom. It's the same squeaky voice you heard before. Up and to the right, it says in a monotone voice. Yeah, don't press the button, Gloom mutters under his breath. You step out of the elevator into a large room that seems to be an office of some sort. It's filled with cubicles. Each cubicle has a desk, a chair, and a computer monitor. All of the monitors are broken, however, and all of them display nothing but static. You walk forward through the room, passing a series of desks. Well, I'm glad we haven't seen any flash golems, you say. There's probably some on the lower level, Gloom says. You think there's multiple floors to this place? Of course, the room is huge with at least 100 cubicles in it. You reach the end of the room where a set of double doors leading out. A placard on the wall reads, Ask Confrey, office. Well, shall we? You ask. Let's go, Gloom says. You turn the knob and push the door open. You and Gloom step into the room, which is yet another office. There's a large wooden desk with a computer. The person that shot at you earlier is sitting behind the desk. She is a young girl about 15 years old. She looks up at you from her computer and stares at you with a confused and surprised way. Her light brown eyes go wide as she sees the two of you. What the heck are you doing here? She asks, backing away from her desk. Gloom, this is, you begin to say, but Gloom is not behind you anymore. You look around and see him walking towards the girl. Gloom, what are you doing? The girl swings her bag at Gloom's head, hitting him and knocking him to the floor. Strong girl. She gets up and runs around the desk. You grab her by the arm and pull her towards you. Now you're gonna answer some questions, little missy, you say to her with a frown on your face. Sit down, you say, and shove her into the office chair. Well, she did shoot at us, so I guess my character decided to be rough. What's your name, you ask, knowing that the girl is no match for you physically. Priscilla, she says, trembling a bit, obviously frightened of you. Oh, and why are you working alone in this abandoned factory, you ask. I'm not, she says. The rest of my team is working on the upper floors. What are they doing? We're looking for a lost treasure, she says. Oh, that's great, Gloom says sarcastically from behind you. And if you don't mind me asking, what the hell are you guys? We're adventurers, treasure hunters, whatever you want to call us. We're here looking for the same treasure as you say, improvising the answer. The young girl's eyes widen. Oh, really? She asks. My character obviously got interested in the treasure itself once he heard that there is a chance for the treasure. Yes, so if you tell us where the treasure is, we can get on with our lives. You see Gloom's reflection in the window behind the girl. He raises an eyebrow and mouths to the word treasure to you. You glare at him and shake your head no. Not sure what this is about. I can't tell you, she asks. And why not? You ask with a sigh. Because there's 2 floors left to search and I can't do it alone, she exclaims. So get your friends to help you. Your heart sinks. I can't do that either, she says. You sigh once more and begin to feel annoyed. Where are your friends? What's the last time you've seen them? How many of them are there? Have you seen any flash golems, you ask? I don't know where they are. The last time I saw them was several hours ago. Several hours? And you've been here alone for several hours? Gloom laughs from behind you. Yes, she says, and there's 5 of them. Your eyes widen. Are you sure? Gloom asks. Yes, the girl answers. 5? There were 6 of us, but Steve turned back because he was too scared. You say, what about flash golems? Yes, the girl says. One of them chased us up here. Dave, my colleague, he was eaten. Colleague. What about Steve? The one that turned back. Is he still alive, you ask? I don't know, I think so, she answers. What's your name again? Gloom asks. Priscilla, she answers. Gloom leans in closer to the girl and stares at her, making her uncomfortable. How old are you, he asks. 17, she answers. You've been here alone for several hours and you don't know where any of your friends are, you ask? I told you, I don't know. I turned back because I was too scared. No, I know, Gloom says. You said 5 people entered the factory and you're the only one here, right? Yes, she answers. So where are the other 3, he asks. Did they make it out? If they did, why are you still here? The girl remains silent. You look at the computer on the desk. You think about how there are flash golems inside the factory. Think about how Priscilla has been alone in the factory for several hours. You think about how she was chased up to the 3rd floor by a flash golem. So yeah, the AI basically is recounting all the important things that happened so it can keep this stuff in its own memory, because the memory of AI is sort of limited. It has to be able to remind itself what is happening. What are you looking up on this PC, you ask her in a threatening tone. The treasure, of course, she says. Show me, you say to her. What have you found so far? Priscilla walks to the computer and starts tapping at the keyboard. They found some old maps in some old boxes behind the front desk, she says. So we got really excited, but it's really hard to understand what they are of or where they're from. The monitor lights up and shows a map of what appears to be different sections. You see the words Lost Temple written at the top of the page. Is this what you were looking for, you ask? Yes, she answers. It's just really confusing. You decide that the best course of actions would have to be exploring the factory yourself. In the meantime, you should see if you can remember the way back to the front entrance, using the map on the computer screen. Gloom, come look at this, you say. Gloom leans in and stares at the screen for a second before shaking his head. It's all in Elvish, he says. I don't know what it says. What is it a map of? I think it's the 1st floor. What should we do with the girl? You look at Priscilla and try to figure out what she's been through during her time in the factory. She seems like a nice kid, and it would be a shame to just abandon her here. Perhaps you could convince her to come with you, or at least take her with you on your way out of the factory. Then again, why did she try to shoot you earlier? Should you be able to trust her? And there is one option. The AI gave me one option, to trust her. Trust is an important quality in this world. After all, who knows what you're doing to meet on your travels? You could very well come across people that you end up having to trust, no matter how much you might not want to. Okay, Priscilla, I'm gonna call you Pri. Let's go, you're coming with us. You'll show us the way out, won't you? You tell her. You begin to walk away from the computer. Gloom stands next to you, looking very confused. Torque, are you sure that's the good idea? He asks. No, but what else can we do? We need to get out of here, Gloom. We can't just leave her here. Well, no, but... He says, clearly not comfortable with your decision. But who's going to lead us out, you or me? I'm gonna go first, she's gonna follow, and you're in the back. If you see a flash golem or anything else, you take care of it, okay? Okay, Gloom says, turning paler than normal. Let's go, I'll be right behind you. Gloom's backstory is that he's actually a much more powerful character than he seems, because once, accidentally, he used a nuclear catapult and killed 300 orcs. As my character and his group were fighting for our life. Because, and ever since then, he's been changing his disposition and his status. One day he's a warrior, another day he's a bodybuilder, the 3rd day he's a necromancer and his house is full of dead bodies walking around. And on the 4th day he's usually a bounty hunter, and me and Gloom have been on a plenty of fun bounty hunting missions together. Maybe I'll read them to you once again. They're a cool bedtime story, right? Well, if you're still watching this video, well, make sure to subscribe, please, eh? Then that way I'll know you're enjoying my little story and the way I tell it. Also, feel free to leave a comment, am I right? You, Priscilla, and Gloom walk out of the office and head to the elevator. As you walk, you can't help but notice that the factory is vastly different during the day. With the lights on, you can see how huge this place is. There are machines on literally every surface of the factory, and it almost seems like it goes on forever. The 3 of you board the elevator and press the button leading to the 1st floor. The elevator shaft begins to move as you rise up. After a few seconds, the elevator comes to a halt and the doors open. You step out into a hallway with several doors lining the walls. Their function is unknown to you. You look around the room. The 3 of you step out of the elevator. The hallway is a fair size with a few doors leading off from it, the function of which is a mystery to you. Gloom is at the front of the group, taking a quick glance through each door before moving on. Let's go, Gloom, you say. There's no time to waste. Gloom seems to ignore you as he continues to look through the doors. You hear a low rumbling roar coming from the end of the hallway. You take a quick look down both sides of the hall to see if you can spot what made the noise. There's nothing other than Gloom at the front, and you and Pri are at the back. Priscilla. Gloom, you whisper as you continue to look down the hall. As you do, a massive blob-like creature comes out of the doorway and tackles Gloom to the ground. It's a flesh golem, and it has a tight grip on Gloom's arm. You attack the flesh golem with all your might. You run up to the flesh golem and begin beating your fists into it. The monster doesn't seem to notice you and continues to try to pull Gloom's arms off. You continue punching it for a little bit before you decide to try something else. Gloom, you shout, still punching the monster. Get out of here. Gloom doesn't seem to hear you or simply ignores you. He tries to pull away again, but the flesh golem holds him back with ease. Hold on, Gloom shouts. You continue punching the flesh golem, which remains completely unfazed by your assault. You punch it so hard in the stomach that part of its rotting flesh falls off, revealing more muscles underneath. There's another one, you hear Pri shout, behind us. Finally, you take out your sword and jam it into the flesh golem's arm, cutting through flesh and muscle. The creature releases its grip on Gloom, who takes the opportunity to scurry away from the monster. Gloom, cast, you yell in shock. Cast a spell. The flesh golem reaches out and punches you. Your stomach sinks as you fly through the air. It takes you a few seconds to realize you're in the air, and it takes a few more seconds after that to hit the floor. You land carefully. Here's one of my actions. I attempt to land carefully. But the AI has a different plan for me. You land with a thud, the back of your skull, smashing onto the cold stone floor. You groan as you try to get up, but find that the golem punches you again, this time in the stomach, winding you. You get back on your feet and thrust at the golem. You stand up before the golem punches you again. This time you're sent to your knees. You groan, trying to ignore the pain before raising your sword once more. You thrust it forward, plunging the blade into the golem's midsection. The sword cuts through flesh and muscle with ease, but unfortunately upon contact with the hilt, you feel an electric current course through your body. Meanwhile, Gloom has summoned a bolt of lightning, which he fires at the flesh golem, lightning. The lightning has the desired effect and the golem falls backwards, twitching violently before falling still after a few seconds. You are still in pain from the electric shock. Gloom looks at you before grabbing some potions out of his bag. Drink this immediately, he says, handing you 2 small vials. You drink the first one and some of your energy returns. There is still one large golem and one small one left. You stand, your head still swimming from the shock, and look at the 2 golems ahead of you. You take a look in Priscilla's direction. She looks scared, hiding behind her desk, but her eyes are fixed upon the 2 figures in front of you. Her gaze is fixed upon them for a reason. It's one that makes you feel sick to your stomach. She's entranced. You cast destructive magic. You swing your sword at the large golem. The blade bounces harmlessly off its hard skin as it reaches down and grabs you with a powerful hand. In its other hand grabs Gloom, who sinks the daggers into the golem's arms, to no avail. We need more magic, you suggest, Gloom, as the 2 of you are lifted into the air, because magic in the AI dungeon is extremely powerful when it manages to appear. Gloom nods, and you watch as he pulls out a small green vial. He throws it at the large golem, and it explodes into a bright green gas, enveloping the large monster. You watch as Gloom smiles, dropping down and jamming his daggers into the golem's eyes. The large golem rose as his small one collapses, twitching and distorting before lying still. Wow, that's gory. True death metal, alright? You drop to the ground, but Gloom doesn't stop. He continues jamming his daggers into the golem's head, stepping it repeatedly until it shatters like porcelain. What the freak are you doing, you ask in shock. Vengeance. Ah, nice. Well done. Gloom smiles as he pulls out his daggers and wipes them on the golem's clothes. He pulls out a small lantern and a key, which he hands to you. You nod and begin looking for the door out of this room. Gloom walks over to Priscilla and offers her a hand. Come on, love, let's get you home. She hesitates before taking his hand. He pulls her up as they walk over to you. You search for a way out. You imagine the factory from the outside. We're on the first floor, which is the ground floor as well, you say. That means... A little bit of a British-American joke to you. That means there are gates on the north, east, south and west. There is a staircase in the middle of each room leading up and a corridor to the southwest. You turn on the lamp and you survey your surroundings. The factory is huge and you're only seeing a small portion of it from the entrance. There are conveyor belts leading into tunnels, presumably 2 tunnels leading to the outside world. A number of urns are sitting on the belts, waiting to be transported. It's a huge place, Gloom says. Oh yeah, I think it is indeed huge. Humongous, I would say. You say and look over at Priscilla. What do you think, Priscilla? It's very big, she says in a dull trance-like voice, because she's still entranced. Yes, it is indeed very big. Now we either need to get out or search for that treasure. And your friends, I guess. Priscilla nods. We need to search for the treasure, she says in the same trance-like voice, walking forwards. Are you sure? We can leave whenever you like. No, we need to search for the treasure. You let her sniff some ammonia. The ammonia is a little too pungent for your liking. It smells like a combination of lamb poop and the time you dropped your keyboard in a bucket of chicken wings. You cover your nose and Gloom does likewise. The girl seems unfazed by the smell. I can't, Priscilla says, trying to hold back the tears. Hold on. You wait patiently for her to collect her thoughts. I can't remember anything, nothing at all. It's all a blur. Everything's a freaking blur, and it hurts, she yells, looking directly at you, before turning away in shame. So basically she's suffering from PTSD entrancement due to seeing the flesh golem. I know what it's like. Okay, let's go, you say to her. At least you snapped out of it. You help her up and she stands on her feet. I need to get home. She says, I need my mom. You nod. Yes, but what about your friends, you ask? We need to find them too. You wait for a response. I don't know, she says. I can't remember them. You sigh. Are they still in the factory? Where have you last seen them? She thinks for a minute then answers. Yes, they are in the factory. And I think... No, I know that I saw them last night. But now I can't remember them at all. Okay, let's search for the exit and then... Wait a second, you say. turn to Gloom. What if we went back the way we came and then entered the factory from another side? Gloom shrugs. I guess that would work. You nod. Okay, we'll do that. We're gonna head over to the southern wall. There is a corridor there with a steel door that leads outside. You make your way out of the factory. You walk to the elevator and ascend back to the top floor. You walk out of the lift expecting to see the room you were in earlier. You know, the one with the bottles. But realize that you are out somewhere else. You're now in a corridor with several doors leading into different rooms. You head through the door on the left, Gloom suggests. You enter and see yourself in a conference room. There is a long rectangular table with 12 high-backed leather chairs surrounding it. You look out of the window and assess the area. You are on the top floor and see a large metal gate at the bottom of a flight of stairs. Okay, let's find the staircase, you say to Gloom. I think I saw one at the end of the hall. You begin walking down the hall and soon find yourself in front of a wrought iron gate. You look through it and see a long staircase. Seems like this is it. Shall we go? You ask. Gloom nods. The three of you walk up the stairs. I think we are not far from where we entered, you say. Once we find a door or an exit, we could be out of here. As you reach the top of the stairs, a group of 5 living dead factory workers shuffle into view. The three of you have to quickly decide who will take care of the situation. Bob, Priscilla cries and points at one of the living dead. She knows this guy? He's one of your friends? He was. You think for a minute. Should you trust him? Can you take him by yourself? Wouldn't it be better to try to sneak around them, the undead? Or maybe get Gloom and Priscilla to deal with him? The undead seem to be bumbling around. They have no real purpose or need for sneaking. Perhaps you can use this to your advantage. This seems like a situation that would be better handled by one of your companions. You can use Gloom's powerful magic or Priscilla's keen hunting skills. Meanwhile, Gloom has been thinking. He's been studying the undead that have been encountered and thinks he might have an explanation. Do you remember the strange symbols on the factory floor and walls, he asks, and you nod. Well, I took a look at them, and I think they are runes. I think this is one of the most powerful dangerous spells in the realm. It creates undead creatures, like flesh golems. You shudder at the thought of fighting an endless supply of the undead. Hopefully that isn't the case, but just in case it is, you still have to prepare yourself for a long-term fight against the dead. The living dead are already dead, it's just their bodies that are moving, not their souls. Interesting explanation. I have an idea, you say to your companion. I'll combine bard magic with a prayer, religious magic. It should banish the undead for a short while. I'll be able to take on many more, but after this it'll be over, and we need more time to come up with a new plan. We need to come up. Okay, Gloom nods at your plan. Thankfully there's only 5 ahead of you. They shamble around slowly and you easily dispatch them. You take a deep breath and begin singing a song of protection, because my character is actually a bard class. That doesn't really correlate with Dungeons and Dragons, but still a very powerful magic. The holy magic flows from your fingers. Your companions watch in awe as the magic takes effect. The living dead begin to keel over and crumble into dust. Yes, 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 Gloom shouts, punching the air with glee. This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen, you exclaim. Will it wear off? Priscilla asks, a little unsure of whether to trust her eyes. I don't know, it should do. You walk past the undead bodies, your magic protecting you from the attack. Finally, you found the exit from the factory. You walk out and realize that you're on the lower balconies beneath the settlement of Krik. You walk into the settlement and realize that it's more like a shantytown built on some stairs. It's actually really bizarre, but it seems to work somehow. We're clear, you mutter. Come on out, guys. Gloom and Priscilla follow you. You sit down and stare at the stars, because it's nighttime. Well, Priscilla, what should we do with you? Address Priscilla. You tried to shoot me. I'm sorry, she whimpers. Gloom laughs. She's an idiot for doing that. Put her back in the factory. Quiet, Gloom, you say. Priscilla, why did you try to shoot me? She begins. You say and give her a small lecture about the team spirit. Don't worry, I'll give you another chance. Her eyes light up and she hugs you. You wince awkwardly and then push her away after a while. Bob is dead, but 2 of my other friends might still be alive. And the treasure is still there waiting for us. We need to go save them. Treasure? Gloom says. Well, I suppose we should try to save the others, but the treasure... That's what this is all about. We're on the verge of discovering the biggest treasure known to mankind. And you're talking about saving your 2 friends? You mean we're going after the treasure? Priscilla stutters. Of course, Gloom says. What do you think we were going to do? I thought we were going to save our friends. No, we need the treasure more than anything, Gloom says. It'll give us the funds to get all of us out of this place and live like royalty. I thought you had enough money, Gloom. You bought a house and you have a collection of several hundreds of very rare, very old bottles of wine, I say to him. I'm a collector. I hoard my money because I want the best of the best. Think about it, Torkild. 2 of our friends are still in there. They're depending on us. If we get the treasure, we could save them and live like kings. I suppose you got a point, he says slowly. Gloom laughs. Of course I do. Now let's go get the treasure. So yes, basically this was the first day of us exploring the ancient factory of Krik. The next day, there are multiple ways to enter the factory. From the roof, same way you did last time, or from the front entrance. You decide to try the front entrance. The main hall has a large hole in the middle, with a strange green goo seeping out. There is a staircase over to the right. There is another room ahead, but that large piece of concrete blocks your way. Okay, Priscilla, sniff for your friends. You put your hand on her shoulder and she begins walking forward. She slowly walks over to the staircase and looks back at you. I think they went up these stairs. Gloom and you follow her upstairs. The staircase leads to another hallway. There are multiple doors along the hallway. One of them is semi-open. You can see a chest inside. Should we loot the place now or leave it for later, you ask Gloom? Let's loot it now. But what if there are enemies inside? We should be careful. It'll be quick. And we'll be quick, don't worry. Gloom quickly runs into the room and comes back almost right away. There's a lot of stuff in there. Treasures, weapons, armor. Should we close the door so it stays preserved? Gloom closes the door. The room is dark again. You can barely see Gloom in front of you. You hear growling. Must be the flesh golems again. Priscilla whimpers. She was severely shocked last time, but she's a tough cookie and has recovered from it. Stay close, you say. You follow Gloom as he walks over to the door on the other side of the room. You open it. You can see light coming from the other side. You take a closer look at it. The light is coming from a hole in the ceiling. The hole is too small for you to crawl through, but there is no danger. A warm wind blows through it. And you can see trees and blue skies. A bird flies past the opening. Wait, did we get to the top floor? There's a sky up here. That's not the top floor, Gloom says. The building is just a whole lot bigger on the inside. Like Alice in Wonderland? Huh? Never mind, what now? Now we loot the weapons and armor. I'll guard the door. Got it. What if there are more growling noises? Shoot at whatever is growling without looking at it. I'll be ready for anything. You start looking and you evaluate the loot. You begin going over the weapons. There are at least 2 repeating crossbows, each loaded with a bolt. There are 3 longswords of varying quality, 1 mace, 1 battle axe, a bow and a quiver of ordinary wooden arrows. You grab the bow and quiver of arrows first. Next you pick up the best longsword. Finally you take the next best longsword. You give the weakest longsword and the mace to Priscilla. The battle axe is rusty, so you leave it behind. Do you see any armors? Gloom asks. Yes, but they are too small for either of us. Ah, that's unfortunate. Hopefully the next building will have something better. You look down at the weapons in your hand. The repeating crossbow is still functional and fully loaded. Maybe this armor will fit Priscilla, you think to yourself. The door to the armory slowly opens and Gloom turns his head. What took you so long? Gloom asks. Out of the armory walks a dark figure cloaked in a black robe with a skullcap mask. I was praying to my god, the figure says. A random figure appears. Gloom raises an eyebrow but says nothing. The figure slowly walks forward, looking at each of you. Her gaze stays at a level that would look equal to a person much taller or shorter than her. I'm looking for a friend. They are a wanted criminal with a large price in their head. Have you seen them? You stand quiet, unsure of what to say. What kind of person, you ask, trying to buy time to think. I know them anyplace, she says. They've got brown hair and blue eyes and look exactly like me. Well, that's a pretty common thing nowadays, Gloom says. I've got blue eyes and blonde hair, so does Turkey. So did my wife before she died. Well, that's not exactly correct. The woman's head tilts. What happened to your nose, she asks Gloom. A necromancer did that in with a spell. Who's that B-word, you ask? What does she want? What do you want, Gloom asks. My name is Banana. I'm a bounty hunter. Should we be on the run right now, you ask? I don't know. Do you feel like you're about to be captured? No, I don't. Let's get pleasantries out of the way and say goodbye for now. You say to her with a slightly menacing tone. Me attempting to get rid of this strange encounter. She puts her hands up. Fine by me. I'm supposed to be hunting other people anyway. Banana walks back to the door that she came in from. Before leaving, she turns to face you once more. You and your friend might want to leave this city soon. They're doing purge outs of parts of the slums right now. She leaves and you sigh with relief. You search the factory for more loot. You walk through the armory and search it thoroughly. You go through the desks and cabinets, and while you find some cash and few supplies, you see that the armory has been ransacked recently. You leave the armory empty-handed. You, Gloom, and Priscilla walk to another part of the factory, searching for loot and Priscilla's friends. You walk through the factory and reach a hallway. There are 3 doors, one to the left, one at the end of the hallway, and one on the right wall. You can also see an elevator across from the hallway. Let's make this quick, Gloom says. Elevator or doors? Let's try the doors, you say. Better to be sure. Gloom nods. You walk to the first door on the left and Priscilla holds it open. You look inside, it's a bathroom. You move on. You keep searching for loot. Priscilla holds open the second door and you look inside. You see a box of cigarettes, a lighter, a few coins and a first aid kit. We could use those, you say. Let's grab them. You collect the loot and keep moving. You start to search for Priscilla's friends. Finally, I decided to search for them. You hear a buzzing sound. What's that? You ask. I don't know, Gloom says, but it's close. You hear the buzzing noise again. It's coming from over there, Gloom says, motioning to a large metal door on the right wall. I guess we should open it, you say. Gloom nods. Loudly and aggressively or quietly and sneakily? We've been quiet enough. Time to get aggressive. Let's do it, Gloom says. You both walk towards the metal door. There is a buzzing sound coming from the other side. Should we open it, you ask, turning to your companion. Gloom nods. You reach out your hand and twist the doorknob, pulling the door open. The room is partially dark. The buzzing sound seems to be coming from a stack of what seems to be computers, standing on shelves and hooked to the large battery arrays. There are several monitors flashing images rapidly. There's something else in the room. You can't see it clearly yet, but you know something's in there. You look at the monitors. You step forward, squinting at the flashing images on the multiple computer screens. You reach out, touching one of the monitors. The screen goes black. Suddenly a red 8 appears. It begins to count up, showing a series of numbers. 9, 10, 11... I think someone's using these computers to mine bitcoins and we just turned it off, you say. That was my input. Scheiße. Gloom says, turn it back on, quick. What for? It's not our bitcoin, you say and laugh. We need to turn it on, or the owner is going to know someone messed with this stuff. So what? We didn't do anything wrong. You watch as the counter reaches 100 and the numbers reset back to 0. Maybe we didn't turn it off, you say. Maybe we turned it on. Just turn it back on, Gloom says. You do it, I don't understand it. You say. Gloom groans, pushing you aside and flipping a switch on the back of the machine. The screens begin to flash again, showing a variety of different Bitcoin mining operations. You're a freaking idiot, Gloom says. Oh, come on, you say. You don't even know what you just turned on, Gloom sighs. Look at the screen. Do you see a Bitcoin counter at the bottom? Yeah, you say, reading that. It says 0.00464,987. Gloom smiles. That's the number of Bitcoins that are currently in the computer. You just turned on the mining process and now we have new Bitcoins. I feel like this might be the smallest tip of a Bitcoin iceberg, you say. What? Gloom says. We still don't know what this is really about, but seems like these Bitcoin computers are valuable. Yeah, so maybe we should take it, you say. Gloom goes pale. Are you crazy? We can't do that. Well, don't tell me you've never stolen anything in your life, you say. My character is a bit more naughty than I expected. Gloom looks away. What? You say. What? You say. Gloom signs. Fine, yes, I have stolen things before. Don't worry, I was just joking. Let's search for Priscilla's friends, you say. You both search the office area. You look under desks and in closets, but you don't seem to find anything of interest. Maybe there is something in the big computer room, Gloom says. Priscilla is sitting in the corner, still clutching her gun. Come on, you say to her. We're going to go and check out the next room. You head into the computer room. There is another large machine in the center of the room with multiple screens. You search for anything valuable. You search for anything of value in the room. You find a small safe hidden behind the wall. Gloom, I think I found something, you say. Come help me pry open this safe. What? Gloom says, standing up straight. I didn't even know there was a safe. Yeah, it's behind the wall. Come on, help me pry it open. Why are you attacking the wall? Gloom asks. We have tools to drill through the wall. No, that'll take too long. Come on. You begin to kick at the wall and Gloom sighs, grabbing your leg. What are you doing? He asks. Stop that. Okay, let's use a drill then, you say. Why do you want to break into this safe so bad? What's in it for you? Come on, Gloom, you know me. You know I don't do things for myself. I'm doing this for the team. Oh boy. Okay, fine, but I'm asking the questions here. What's in it for us? Money, you say in your Mr. Krabs voice, and fun. And the satisfaction of my curiosity. This factory is an absolute mystery. Yeah, I guess it is, Gloom says. Okay, then let's do it. You begin to drill into the wall. You go through several layers of the wall before finally hitting metal. There it is, the mother lode, you say, as you begin to unscrew the safe from the wall. Let me do it, Gloom says, grabbing the drill from you. I think I can get through it a little faster this way. After some time, you're able to extract the small safe from the wall. Let's just take the safe and open it later, you suggest. Good idea, Gloom says. You pick up the small safe, open the door with your hands full and head back to the first floor. I'm sure they'll be able to hear us coming. Who will? You ask. Flash golems. No doubt the sound of us drilling through several layers of reinforced concrete alarmed them. We were pretty quiet, you say? Trust me, kid, they heard us and they're coming. Perhaps we should leave through the roof again, you suggest. What about my friends, Priscilla asks. I don't think we'll be able to find them at this point, you answer her. We spent way too much time here. Gloom's right, we probably already awoken the flash golems. With your new plan in mind, you begin to head back up the stairs. Hey, wait, you guys, Priscilla says as she stumbles down another hallway. Priscilla, we have to go now, you say. But my friends are this way, she answers. Okay, you sigh. If we don't find them in the next hour, we're leaving as fast as possible. I'm sick of this place. But what if my friends are still here, she asks. If they survive for this long, they might as well stay here, you answer. Gloom opens the door to the stairwell. Let's go, he says in a dark tone. Because this factory is frankly way too dangerous. There are flash golems everywhere. And the runes that turn dead bodies into undead. If your friends survived, they can stay here, but what my character is insinuating is that they probably did not survive. You head down the stairs and continue to listen. You can hear a strange grunting noise above you. The staircase continues down for at least another 5 minutes. I don't think I have time to wait here, Priscilla says as she rushes down the stairs. basically separating from us. I don't think I have... Damn it, Gloom yells. Come on, kid, you know what to do. You give one last look at the long staircase before heading down the dark hallway by yourself. As you walk down the hall, you can hear Priscilla screaming in pain. Stupid girl, Gloom yells, and then you hear the sound of a loud blast. What was that, you yell out. Come on, move your ass, kid, Gloom yells back. You continue to walk down the hallway as screams become louder and louder. Stop, stop, please don't, someone is screaming. Priscilla's voice seems to be coming from around the corner. You run around it and see a large flesh golem, holding her up against the wall by her neck. The monster's large hands seem to be wrapped completely around her neck, causing her face to turn red with lack of oxygen. And now I finally take the action. You shoot the golem. You take out your pistol and begin to unload it into the creature. The first few shots hit the creature, but as you continue to fire it becomes apparent that you either need to reload or take the time to aim better. You and Gloom attack the golem. You both begin to attack the creature from both sides. The golem slowly turns to your partner, deciding that he is the larger threat. Gloom is a powerful man, but he is no match for this flesh golem. You kick the golem in the knee. You round around the creature looking for an opening. Its legs are rock hard, so you instead decide to aim for its head. You leap into the air and bring your foot down right on the tip of Golem's nose. Oh yeah, that was unexpected. Gloom casts his magic. Gloom begins to cast a spell, but the golem isn't about to wait for him. The creature grabs you and begins to squeeze tightly. Scheiße, you yell as the large hand of the golem crush your bones. At least Priscilla is out of here safe. You hope the kid is strong enough to survive. The golem's hands tighten around your body and you begin to feel a pain that you never thought possible. Well, that's dreary. You attempt to wiggle out of the golem's hand. That was my action. You wiggle around a little, trying to cause the golem's grip to lose its power. The golem tightens the grip significantly. Arr, you yell in pain. Your ribs feel like they are going to break at any moment. Gloom continues to cast his spell as you feel the life being squeezed out of you. In the name of Jesus Christ, let the... Gloom begins to yell. Suddenly, a ray of light shines down from the above. It appears that Gloom has finished his spell. Burn in hell, demon of the netherworld, he yells. A bolt of lightning strikes the golem, causing it to scream out in pain. The smell of burnt flesh begins to fill the room. You free yourself. You wiggle out of the golem's hands and you manage to pull yourself free. You collapse on the ground, trying to catch your breath after that painful experience. You watch as Gloom throws a small piece of the golem at the wall, which sticks there. Okay, Priscilla, do you want to leave now? Gloom asks. Yeah, I'm ready, you hear her say. You stand up and begin to limp your way over to the door. Damn, Torque, that was some fight. Yeah, I need some peace. I didn't know you knew Christian magic. Oh yeah, I knew a little bit of everything, Torque. Hey, are you okay? You begin to cough up blood. You don't answer Gloom, instead you start walking outside the factory. Yeah, let's go home, Gloom. Hope Priscilla's friends are alright. Yeah, I'm sure they are. God, this place is covered in blood. Let's get the freak out of here. And then, the story is about to come to an end. Can you believe it? Maybe we'll find out what happens in the future, in the different video, if you're willing to listen to me. If you've managed to stay up to this point, make sure to leave a comment and say you watched almost all the video. The three of you finally leave the factory through the roof and end up in the settlement of Krik again. You, Gloom... Pardon? And Priscilla end up in Krik again. The night has arrived, the sun has already set, but the lights of the city are burning brightly. The streets are empty, save for a few guards patrolling them. I think it might be goodbye for us, Priscilla. You should be thankful that you missed me when you shot at me, you say to Priscilla. Yeah, well, I'm sorry about shooting at you. I forgive you. You smile at her and she smiles back. It's really cute. I actually didn't expect her to apologize to me. I'll never forget you, Torque. You saved my life and you were really cool. Yeah, it was fun to be sure, but who knows, we might meet again someday. Yeah, well, I guess this is goodbye, she says. Yeah, it sure is. Goodbye, Priscilla. Maybe someday we'll meet again so I can hear some more of your jokes. Bye, Torque. You turn around and walk away from Priscilla. You start walking with Gloom towards your rack. She's a nice girl, Gloom says. Yeah, I didn't expect her to apologize for shooting at me. It was very nice of her. Yeah. Still, you seem pretty sad about this. You nod silently in response. You got a crush on her and something? Gloom asks. Oh, I wish, you say. Her life just seems so pathetic. She lost her friends in that factory, and now she has to lose us. What a sad, lonely life she must lead. Who knows? Maybe she'll make some friends here, or maybe she'll go back to her home. Who are we to judge? Yeah. Okay, guys, so basically this is the end of the video. I simply did not expect it to turn out so long. In my memory, this was like a 30-minute adventure at best. Well, actually, it took me multiple weeks to play this out. Slowly every day, and now I spent so much time recording it. I hope you appreciated this little nighttime story, and I hope you enjoyed your old grandpa Sparkfinger telling it to you. So, if you really did enjoy it, if you're still watching this part of the video, please feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, upvote this video, and most importantly, tell about me to your friends if you really enjoy this stuff. If you didn't know it, my channel actually got monetized. Can you believe it? I'll talk about this some more later in the future. So, I really have a lot of plans to make a lot more content, not just related to AI games. I'll see you next time, hopefully sometime soon, maybe this Wednesday, maybe Thursday, so it's relevant. Well, until then, goodbye for now. Please make sure to subscribe and leave a like, multiple likes, am I right? So okay, final goodbye now.